Some of you guys are watching from the sidelines, watching people make bank in the stock market, and you're wondering, like, should I invest in stocks? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should invest in stocks in 2021, and watch to the end, and I'll tell you how I made a 6,000% return on one of my individual stocks. Let's talk about it. Channel, then you don't know, but I practice an attorney, and yes, I have a pretty decent job. But if 2020 has taught us anything else, is that you need to have more than one source of income. And so I would say that one of the reasons why you should invest in stocks is so that you can have multiple sources of income, not just your paycheck. If that paycheck goes away and you have a stock brokerage account, you can possibly have that access to income. And at minimum, you can dip into it. You don't always have to right now. It can be a source of income in your retirement. This is just something that it's at minimum that you should have it because you need multiple sources of income. Yes, the stock market is risky, but any investment that you're going to do has some level of risk involved. And if you're not in the game, you can't win anything. So you can get either a 0% return because you didn't invest, or you can have average of 30% returns. As you'll watch to the end, you can get a 6,000% return. If you weren't invested, you wouldn't have been able to have any percent return. So yes, the stock market is risky, but I would say that that is one of the sources of incomes that you should have. If you watch my other video about building your wealth up, you need to have multiple sources of income, where it could be real estate, your regular job, other jobs that have passive income. And so I would say stock market is not necessarily, it can be passive income, but you probably should pay attention to it and not just invest and then turn away from it. You should have some kind of exit strategies in place to make sure that you're protecting your investment. The next reason why you should invest in stocks in 2021 is to build your net worth. So your net worth is what income you have minus your liabilities. And some people's net worth is negative because they have more debt than they have income. And so if you invest in the stocks, you're building your net worth up. So let's say you have your regular W-2 job, but also you have some money in your brokerage account. Now you add that amount in your brokerage account to whatever you make, and your net worth has increased. And so that's at minimum. I know some people don't care about building generational wealth, but if it's just you and you want to build your net worth to say that you're worth a certain amount of money, having a brokerage account is one way to build up your net worth. Yes, I talked a little bit about it, but you actually can help build generational wealth by investing in stocks. So if you have children or grandchildren and you want to pass things down, you want to interrupt the live paycheck to paycheck scheme, I guess, then you can actually build generational wealth by having brokerage accounts. If you watch my other video about stock investing for beginners, you can actually have brokerage accounts open up for your children as well. And what it does is it almost forces you to save. I would say save because you probably would be spending the money on something else that does not build wealth. And so instead of doing that, transfer the money over to your brokerage account and do an investment. I mean, you won't notice it any differently, I'm sure, if you normally don't know what you spend your money on anyway. So why not build generational wealth so that way your grandchildren and great-grandchildren can have access to money that you started now. And it's not just in a savings account where it doesn't really grow exponentially. It's in an account that has the potential to double, triple, quadruple. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But building generational wealth is another reason why you should invest in 2021. So I've been investing for a while. And if you haven't seen my other video, then you know that I bought some stock in Gamestop. And it's an individual stocks. I'll talk a little bit about it in a second because you can actually invest in individual stocks, you can invest in ETFs, and you can invest in mutual funds, which are a little bit more diversified than individual stocks. And I have a little sprinkle of each in my portfolio. But this particular case, I invested in GameStop, which is an individual stock. And I bought the stock in August 2019, and I bought it for $4.64 a share. As of last week, January 23rd or 25th, I can't remember what day I sold it, but I sold it last week at 325 cents a share. That was a 6,000% return. Like, that's not typical, but had I not been in the game, I wouldn't have had any return. So I got a 6,000% return on something that I did a minimal investment that's $4.64 a share. And I turned around and sold it for $325 a share. Excuse me. So keep that in mind when you're trying to see whether it's a good return. I would say I had an exit strategy. If I doubled my money, I decided I was going to go ahead and close out that stock. And I more than doubled my money at a 6,000% return. So I said, deuces, I'm out of here. Some people said they wanted to hold later. I didn't want to be greedy because sometimes when you get greedy, then you end up losing the money. So if I would have held it for a little longer, right now, I think as of yesterday, it was trading at $90 a share. So I still would have benefited because, I bought it at $4, but I wouldn't have benefited as much if I was greedy and like, let me hold on and see if I can make a little bit more money. So as I mentioned before, stocks are risky. Have an exit strategy. Have it say, okay, when I get to this figure, I'm going to sell. And you can watch my video about how to actually set limit orders to sell and to buy, but have a strategy so that you basically can make the best of your investment. Hopefully I convinced you to go ahead and get off the sidelines and jump into the stock market game. It's not the only thing you should be doing, but at minimum, you can start small. Maybe try some individual stocks. Maybe try some mutual funds. Maybe try some ETFs. Try something in 2021 so that you can say, oh, another year went by and I didn't try. And then I watched as other people basically did pretty well in the stock market. All right. Hope to see you in the next video.